I'll be looking at the week ahead with our political panel.
Hello and welcome to the London section of Sunday Politics. Here in the capital, the French socialist presidential candidate visits next week. We report on why London has now become officially part of the French Republic. But first, let's say hello, or bonjour even, to our MPs here for the duration today. Karen Buck, Labour MP for Westminster North and Shadow Education Minister, and Tom Brake, Liberal Democrat for Carshalton and Wallington. Firstly, it felt like the mayoral contest kicked off properly this week, with the first hustings, Messrs Paddock, Livingston and Johnson together for the first time for 4 years. Some describe it as Groundhog Day. It's still quite interesting to see these first four. Here was the beginning of this campaign, before an audience of elderly people looking for the grey vote. And most people seem to think, observers, that your grey man came out on top.
How dare you describe him as...
Backlines are going to be in the mayoral election campaign. Let me bring in Tom. It's really hard to get away from asking this question. How does Brian Paddock muscle in on this race, which looks to so many people as being so two-horse?
Well, I suppose this hustings was the first opportunity, really, where Brian was sharing the panel. So I think that automatically will give him profile, which so far he's struggled to achieve, because the media have tried to play this simply as a Ken versus Boris campaign. But I think what he was appealing to amongst the senior citizens in that audience was their interest and their concerns around crime and the whole agenda of fear of crime, but also being able to reinforce the message that the Freedom Pass is here to stay, and that Brian will appoint a deputy mayor
I tell you, they all said they'd keep the Freedom Pass. Were they going to go before that audience and say they weren't going to? They wouldn't have got out of there alive.
It would be a brave candidate.
Well, perhaps our next guest might say that. Who knows? Well, someone else who threw her hat into this mayoral ring this week was a last mayoral election.
I've always voted...
We don't ask you now, of course, who you voted for this time, because you're standing. So you'll vote for yourself. But, some would say you have Boris Johnson with a huge recognition factor for the Conservatives, Ken Livingstone, who is so associated with London politics. You've got Liberal Democrat, ex-police officer, which may resonate with the riots. Greens offering alternatives, on transport. There is a big choice there.
None of those,
Sort of cranky, but it's just sort of individuals that use this platform to say they want to offer a new message and everything. But are they really contributing new aspects to the political debate?
Well, I welcome the fact that Siobhan is standing. I think we'll have to see whether she is actually offering something new and different. But if Siobhan is putting the emphasis on community, then I would argue that Brian, particularly the work that he did when he was a senior police officer in Brixton, in actually bringing together communities which really felt, in some respects, under the cosh, then I think he has demonstrated that he's got that community commitment.
Actually, particularly as he stood last time, voters may well have a really serious look at someone that knows the organs of government, has major backers.
And
Final word.
Can I just come back and say, I'm not saying...
Yeah, that's all we have time for on that particular bit. Thanks very much
Thank you
indeed. And you can find a full list of candidates standing in the mayoral election on the BBC London website. Now,